Hello again. Welcome back to the Effective Change Management module. In this short video, I would like to take you along in how to do a stakeholder analysis. Stakeholder analysis is always very important because if you set up a change management procedure or whenever you define a project, of course, you have to know exactly with whom you are dealing with and how to treat the different stakeholders involved in your plans and in your activities. So particularly in, let's say, community development plans or projects, you have to do a proper stakeholder analysis because if you forget something or you have the wrong treatment for the wrong stakeholder, it might endanger your project. So in the course materials you have already found some articles and notes about how to do a stakeholder analysis, and that is more than I want to tell you in this short video, but I want to highlight one specific way of making a stakeholder analysis, and it's a very simple and let's say easy tool. You don't have to, it's not rocket science, so to say. So you only need a matrix for it. I already draw it on the paper. It's 2 dimensions. We have the dimensions of importance, from low importance to high importance. And we have dimension of influence. So high influence and low influence. These are the most important dimensions that you have to take into account when you are analyzing your stakeholders. Well, how are we going to do this? You see 4 quadrants, and we will discuss for each quadrant who should be in there and how to deal with them. So let's start with the most important one. The most important quadrant is this one. I will mark it with a 1. Those are, let's say, the stakeholders for which the project or change is very important, so high importance, and they are also very influential. So we are talking about the group which is high and high when it's coming to importance and influence. So this is the group that you have to involve in your plans very well. You have to actually almost make them part of your team, and if your team gets too big, you have to keep them on board. You can make a steering committee or any other kind of committee and inform them regularly about your plans, the steps, the activities, the results, etc., etc. So you have to create a good working relationship with them. Good working relation. This is most important for this group. You have to keep them on board all the time. Now, let's go to the second group. That's the group for which the project is very important, but they have relatively low influence. So who are we talking about? Maybe we talk about, let's say, ordinary citizens if you do a community development project, or let's say you want to make some specific change in your organization. It's people who are, let's say, maybe not in the higher management positions or citizens that are not organized. So, in fact, they are also often the target group of your project, and the most important thing to do for them is to protect their interests. Because they are not powerful or influential enough to do it themselves. So it means that you have the responsibility to protect their interests in all the time. whenever you do, let's say, something in the management board or in the city council or in the discussions with the mayor, you have to take them always in the back of your mind. You have to inform them also about every step. You don't have to involve them in all those steps, like you do with the first group of high importance and high influence, but you always have to take care that you protect and your team will protect their interests because they are often your final beneficiaries. So this is second group, and then I think you already can have some imagination who should be in this quadrant. Let's go now, let's say, to the other one. Let's say the people or the stakeholders that have low importance and low influence. Might be, let's say, the rest of the public. They're not specifically interested in your project. They don't have a specific benefit from your project. They learn about it maybe through the social media. So it's always good for the image of your change management to inform them. You don't have to involve them. It is, let's say, enough to inform them through social media, maybe a newsletter, but in fact, you can say low involvement. Yeah? Now, the final group, and this is really the test of your change management project. Those who have a low interest, for whom it is of low importance, but who have very high influence. This is, let's say, what we call the risk area. Very important, because they can make and they can break you and your project. You know, often, let's talk about, let's say, city council. You have different parties represented there. Maybe your change management project is not of their interest, and you don't want them to jeopardize, let's say, your project as well. You want to at least make a deal with them about future results, goals, finance, could be anything. So how to deal with them? Try to find out, you have to, first of all, you have to monitor them very closely. You don't have to involve them and make them part of your team because they have a low importance. For them it's not very important, but at least you don't want to be bothered too much about any, let's say, problems that they could make. So you have to exactly monitor, and usually it's also, let's say, negotiable. Maybe you are in the situation, or your friendly stakeholders, which we sometimes also call the ambassadors of your project, they can, let's say, negotiate with the stakeholders who have a lot of influence. If you let us do our thing this time, we will support you in your project the next time. So try to make a deal with them and monitor them closely, and try to reduce the risk as much as you can for this group by at least keeping them well informed and find out about their opinion from time to time. This is a very easy methodology to frame, let's say, the different stakeholders and know what you have to do with them. I think it will help you if you simply draw this form with your partners in the project or in the management and try to, let's say, put all the stakeholders on the right position, and then afterwards make a strategy on how to deal with them during your change management project. So this is it for the stakeholder analysis, and I'm sure you will do a good job with it. Thank you very much.